Last weekend, my Instagram feed was overflowing with young women posting about what motherhood means in their own life. Reels highlighting their first birth, or the joy that they never felt before that moment, the fulfillment and the purpose they feel every day. Whether it was famous celebrities, fashionable girl bosses, or the friends I grew up with, the theme of their messages were all the same. There is value in motherhood. And it stood out to me in harsh contrast to the research I had pulled just a few weeks ago when I was talking about second-wave feminism. And in that research, I found countless examples of women spearheading the charge to teach other women how burdened they should be by their own biology. They taught them to view marriage as a prison and how the family is a trap or a concentration camp. And the more I was digging into those lies, the more the truth was standing out. And it made me all just kind of stop and look at the facts in my own life. Every mother that I know said that she became the best version of herself when she became a mom. Sure, they also say it is the hardest job you will ever have, but they also say it was the most rewarding. Not a single mother in my own life who I respect and admire has ever told me that they wish they didn't become a mom, or that they hate motherhood by any stretch. It is always the single greatest blessing in their life, time and time again. And they always say they are better for it. So then, as I was thinking about that, I kept thinking, okay, so who told me the opposite? Who introduced me to any fear behind it? The media.
Lies, lies, and more lies.
Women who are strangers to me. And I just think that's very telling and very interesting. If I were to turn off the noise and simply just look around at the people in my own life growing up, I would have only seen the truth. But that's not the world that we live in anymore. Sometimes the most influential people in women's lives are people they will never meet. That's a crazy thing to think about. And in my stewing about this and thinking about Mother's Day and watching all these women in my life be mothers and be incredible, and it's just such a fun, frankly, week on social media to see all of that. That's when I stumbled upon this reel reposted from Evie Magazine. It was originally posted from a woman named Reagan, I believe. Great name. And she posted a video that said, I asked ChatGPT, if I were the devil, how would I make women despise motherhood? And then she went on to post what the prompt gave her.
I guess that makes me the devil.
I re-entered that into ChatGPT, and I want to show you guys what it said because it was the same thing that she got as well. Because this was so telling. I assumed it would sound similar to things I read about in my feminist deep dive, but I did not expect the prompt to be this on the nose. We literally put in the exact same thing. If I were the devil, how would I make women despise motherhood? If you were the devil and wanted women to despise motherhood, you wouldn't attack it directly. You'd reframe it as oppressive, limited, or outdated. Here's a concise playbook. It gives me chills because it's just listen. Step 1, rebrand motherhood as a trap. What did I say they did? They called it a prison. They called it a concentration camp, a trap. And under that, call it a loss of freedom rather than a gift of life. Say it's a waste of potential instead of the most impactful legacy. Frame children as burdens, financial, emotional, and career ending. That one alone, spot on. It's crazy. Okay, then it goes on. Step 2, idolize careerism. Push the narrative that fulfillment only comes through corporate success. Make boss babe culture feel empowering even when it leads to burnout and loneliness. Make motherhood incompatible with ambition, as if women must choose one or the other. Again, I get chills hearing this because this is what I've heard from the media my whole life. Not from my family, not from the women I love, not from the people I care about. From strangers on the internet, from grumpy feminists from the 1970s pushing this narrative that has filtered down to us in the modern day. And I read this and it makes me angry too because I'm aware of it, but I still want to be a mom and I'll get into all of that. But the fact that it hasn't affected me would be a lie because of course it has. Of course these things are in my head. Will that change my life forever? How will I be able to keep my ambition and still be a mom? Those fears are legitimate. I mean, obviously there's things that will change about your life and all that, yes, but they're legit in a sense that they have been told to us enough that we feel it.
What's that horrible sound?
Children.
Oh, your life is gross. My life is amazing.
It's like the fear is legitimate. Like that doubt, that concern is an actual emotion. So like the fear is real, but it's a fear of a lie. And it makes me angry that like it worked at all. That it's infiltrated all of us to the point that it has. And they keep going. Again, this has been step by step what we've seen play out. The fact that it's noting boss babe culture and says even when it leads to burnout. ChatGPT is not some political machine, at least not yet. So if anything, I thought it would be super like pro-feminist. But again, we asked it through the eyes of the devil. How would they portray motherhood as bad? How would they want women to get away from that? So wild. Okay, step 3, weaponize feminism. Twisted into a rejection of femininity and nurture, which again is what we've been saying, what it turned into. Didn't start like that, but it became that. Gosh. Okay, even this line, hold up. I learned about the whole sameness thing from Ben. Ben used to talk about that a lot, and he'd really kind of teach how that's what it became, and I've learned a lot from him. That's what this is saying. Replace equality with sameness. Denying the beauty of gender distinctions. If you go back and we literally replay what I said last week, it was talking about the sameness idea because that is what happened with feminism. It ultimately was no longer a fight for equality, which again, we're good, but a fight for sameness. Like we are exactly the same as men, even though we literally are not and never ever will be. Paint mothers as weak or brainwashed by the patriarchy. Nothing here has been wrong. Step 4. Normalize self-centered living. Preach self-love as the highest virtue, even if it means sacrificing others. I just have social media on replay through my mind. That's it all the time. Treat motherhood as a sacrifice too great for the modern woman. Promote child-free living as more evolved, more enlightened. Step 5. Make family seem disposable. Undermine marriage. Celebrate divorce. Mock traditional households. Again, Feminist Playbook was just talking about this. Celebrate surrogacy and sperm banks as preferable to real families. Oh, it's so insane. It's so insane how spot on this is. Treat fathers as useless and mothers as optional. I haven't spotted a single error yet to the modern world, not one. Step 6, use pop culture to reinforce it. Rate moms as neurotic, annoying, or invisible in TV and movies. Make pregnancy look like a nightmare and parenting like a trap. Elevate celebrities who flaunt childlessness and independence as icons. This kind of strategy doesn't destroy motherhood, it makes women opt out of it willingly, believing it's in their best interest. That's the most insidious part. Would you like me to flip this and talk about how to make motherhood appealing again in today's culture? No, ChatGPT. You don't need to do any more. You've exposed exactly what I needed you to expose. And I think that humans, we can do the job of re-encouraging women again to want to be mothers. Like, don't want you in the future, but you're going to be here anyways. Dang it. Every facet of culture, from how individual women would look at it to how then society reinforced it. I mean, it's all there. I'm replaying like the last 2 decades of content and just it filtering it through this lens. And it's like, oh, yeah, that movie did that. Yeah, that TV show did. It's subtle over time, over decades. So by the time you turn 28 and you're like, wow, I've consumed so much of that for decades of my life. And it's creepy because what was the prompt? What would the devil do?
Why the hell am I the devil?
Someone said ChatGPT got that right. It's like Screw Tape Letters. That was the biggest thing. If you haven't read Screw Tape Letters by C.S. Lewis, read that. I think he was like a head demon talking down to one of his employee, like his other demons. It was him talking about like how to chase after the guy and like keep him trapped, to get the guy away from God and to get away from the light and like stay in the darkness and like keep the guy trapped. And it's a fascinating read again because it's from the perspective of the devil. So here again, it's that same thing with that ChatGPT did. Someone else said, wow, spot on how society promotes and values a culture of death versus a culture of life. Somehow, ChatGPT didn't miss anything, but you might be missing a tiny nutrient in your body that could potentially change everything about the way you feel. If you've ever wondered why you're feeling sluggish or sleeping poorly or aging faster than you'd like, the answer might be simpler than you think. That's where Fatty 15 comes in. Our cells need essential nutrients to stay healthy, and most of us are deficient in one critical one, C15. Fatty 15 is a science-backed, award-winning, pure, and vegan-friendly C15 supplement with just one ingredient, and it has 3 times more cellular benefits than omega-3 or fish oil. Plus, it's free from flavors, allergens, or preservatives. C15 is the only ingredient in Fatty 15, 100% pure, and unlike fish oil supplements that oxidize quickly, Fatty 15 naturally resists breakdown, both in the bottle and in your body. Fatty 15 works by replenishing your cells with C15, which repairs cellular damage, boosts energy production, and activates your body's natural repair mechanisms for better sleep, mood, metabolism, and heart health. As you guys know, I've been taking Fatty 15 for a little over a month now, and I'm slowly starting to feel less sluggish in the morning, which is so exciting. So I'm going to keep on going because I need to be clear-headed in the morning so I can bring you the best show possible. Also, their glass jars are very cool because they're reusable glass and bamboo jars, and so they just send refills quarterly to fill your jar back up without actually sending more bottles, which is very nice and honestly good for the environment, which is always good. So if you guys want to give Fatty 15 a shot, you can get 15% off their 90-day subscription starter kit by going to fatty15.com/comments or use code comments at checkout. I love that we are starting to prioritize our health recently. It's been a good thing for women, but everyone in general. Unlike what they were doing 50 plus years ago, which was prioritizing conversations about women being trapped because they're in marriages or they want to be moms. As ChatGPT so clearly noted, in those last 50 plus years, the focus on equality was retired because it was achieved. And they switched to the forced sameness and everything changed. And again, just for some history, like a quick history lesson, the birth control pill came out in 1957. And then you have, starting in 1960, the fertility rates among women, blue as US, dropped dramatically to the early 70s. Again, we talked about it last week. What happens during the early 70s with feminism, all that, abortion, all the things. And then it just stays stagnant, relatively so, for a while. And then from 2010 onward, it dropped even further. It's just interesting. It's just interesting how that all plays. And then these women did start opting out of motherhood, just like the prompt said. They were choosing to use birth control and avoid motherhood. One person commented under that original video because they were just talking about the value of motherhood with that prompt, showing what the prompt had said, and it was that real. And someone said, "Some women aren't mothers by choice, and my heart aches for them. Some have made that choice, and I applaud them and respect them too. It's always the women who have no issues finding a partner or falling pregnant that post things like this and make comments like, 'Wake up, being a mother is the greatest gift.' Just stand back and think how your comment acts like a dagger to an infertile woman's heart, or the woman at 45 who finds herself single after putting all of her time and effort into a relationship or someone else's kids only to be let down. As a mother, my empathy is so strong. I never judge anyone because I have no idea what their personal circumstances. Good for you that you can pop out 3-4 kids, no questions asked, but it doesn't make you any better or worthy." Which, while a lot of that is true, that's not what this message is saying. And that's not what I'm saying here. The video that she was responding to was one talking about motherhood as a gift. So we should sit back and not say that. So we should sit back and allow society to still teach women the exact opposite. Both things can be true. And someone kind of pointed that out. She said, the intention is to show how things have been twisted to not value motherhood and staying home to take motherhood and being a wife full time. It is hard that there are people who don't have a spouse or a child, and this is nowhere in this post. Please let the beauty of this post about motherhood stand out as it is. That's the key here too. And I don't want you to hear what I'm not saying. No one is saying that you do not have value if you are not a mother. And it is a good thing for women to encourage each other that motherhood has value and is a gift. Things like infertility or loss of a child are heartbreaking realities that humbly remind us how much of a gift children truly are. I myself do not have kids yet, and I have yet to find out how hard or easy it will be for me to have one. I am currently a married, childless girl boss of sorts, and I love my husband and I love my career. And yet, I have learned from the women I love most that there is a whole other world that I have not even entered into yet. And I am thrilled for the day, Lord willing, when I will get to meet that version of myself as a mom. As I've watched from other women, nothing I will ever achieve in a career will even remotely compare. From what I'm told, again, from the people I care about, not from strangers, it will be the greatest thing that ever happens to me, both to me and for me as a woman. I will grow and evolve and be refined. Not that I will utterly lose myself and never gain it back, but I will never be the same in a good way. It's not always sunshine and rainbows. That's not what I'm saying. Also, I haven't experienced it, so I can't confirm or deny, but I have been told that you will learn a new kind of love that will be able to sustain you through even the hardest parts of the job. My sister and my mom and my aunts and my friends, they're crushing it as moms. I think too, it's maybe when you start to see women having kids, the fear of it dissipates. Not that I ever didn't want to have kids, but there was sort of oh, what's that going to be like? How's that going to change my life? But then obviously I was not the first of my friend group and my family to have kids. So my sister started having kids and I was like, oh, wait, that looks really fun and peaceful and so fulfilling. And well, that's interesting. She's having a great time. And then I see my friends start to have kids and their lives are even better. And it's so much fun to be around kids. And it's like, well, that's not what I was told from the media for 20 years. It happened by seeing it. Again, it all comes back to what you experience in your own life. You know, it's weird to be sitting here as someone who's not a mom and who is in her career and has worked really hard in this career. But at the same time, it's like, okay, it's fun and great. And also, I get to be a mom one day. That's going to be so sick. Even stupid Katy Perry, and I hate because she also is super pro-abortion and I literally disagree with her on everything. But she said about how she went to space and she sold those records and they asked her, what's the greatest thing you've ever done? And she said, being a mom.
You have done so many incredible things in your life, selling millions of records, selling out stadiums. Where does this experience rate for you?
This experience is second to being a mom.
And I think that's freeing for women too, because you don't have to go chase the crazy career and achieve all these wild things. Because even those people who've done that, the best thing they ever did is still be the mom. And it's like this great equalizer because the majority of women can be a mom. And even if they're unable biologically to have children, they can become adoptive mothers and foster mothers. And so that possibility is still out there for women. That's the ideal that should be taught and encouraged, not torn down by feminists of yesteryear. By setting these ideals and these standards that, again, motherhood has value and is a good thing, it does not mean that you are bad or behind if you don't have kids. And if you don't want kids, that's your prerogative. That's okay. But what I fear is happening to many young women is that they don't want kids for the reasons that have been force-fed to us since we were young. And they're lies. And I think it is a great thing to continue making the value of motherhood known to the next generations of women. Thanks so much for watching today's episode. If you want more content like this, make sure to subscribe to our channel and like this video if you enjoyed it. And last but not least, if you want more content, you can also follow me on my personal accounts, as well as our new comment section Instagram. See you guys in the comments.